Niki Lauda, an astrological portrait by Ciro Discepolo. I looked and beheld the shade of him who made through cowardice the great refusal. These lines from the third canto of the Inferno are where Dante placed Celestine V, who famously renounced the papacy. While the laurels of Formula One are not the papacy, I am certain that had the poet lived in our time, he would have placed Niki Lauda alongside Pietro di Cernia. Indeed, on more than one occasion, the pilot born in Vienna on February 22, 1949, at 11:02 a.m., acted in a way that might earn him a place in that infernal region reserved for those who did neither good nor evil. In 1978, shortly after triumphing twice with the powerful Ferraris, when it seemed no one could snatch a third world title from him, Lauda left Modena for Brabham, a racing team then undeniably inferior to our national pride on four wheels. On another occasion at the Japanese Grand Prix, Niki retired just minutes before the end of the race because the track seemed too dangerous, forfeiting third place. Finally, in a move that caught everyone off guard, the Austrian announced his definitive retirement from Formula One. He later reconsidered. Today, Niki Lauda remains a super champion, but these episodes must be analyzed in search of a possible explanation. One certainly cannot call Niki a coward. Driving a bolide at 300 km/h requires courage far beyond the average. Yet he himself admitted that in Japan he stopped out of fear, the conflict between will and reason. Let us pause to analyze a primary pair of astrological factors: the Sun-Mars conjunction in the 10th house, and the Mars-Saturn opposition. The former is a sign of courage, audacity, and recklessness placed at the service of one's profession, 10th house. The latter, however, expresses values of blockage, a sort of seizure or interference between will, Mars, and reason, Saturn. We often find this opposition in subjects who are blocked or stalled, to use automotive language. It is evident then that Lauda is both a brave man and a man deeply conditioned by reason. These are two antithetical values, given that courage, by definition, involves impulses that reason cannot censor. Embodying both, he behaves accordingly. Despite practicing perhaps the most dangerous profession in the world, he is often called the accountant of racing. His harshest critics reproach him for calculating too much, for always weighing whether to risk or not. Lauda counters, especially regarding the Japanese circuit, that it is better to lose a world title than to not arrive at all. Alongside the Mars-Saturn opposition, the champion's horoscope features a Sun-Saturn opposition. Both should be read in an Adlerian key as a father complex or power complex. For those with these aspects, will and authority are simultaneously synonyms and opposites. The resulting dialectic is one of great pathos toward authority, in whatever form it appears. Viewed this way, his relationship with Enzo Ferrari, the great old man of the prancing horse, must have been incredibly difficult and harsh. Indeed, the moment Niki left, Maranello was particularly taxing. Saturn was transiting his birth position, revitalizing and recharging the double opposition with his natal Sun and Mars. It is clear that at that moment his relationship with the man who evoked the image of his father could only be frustrating. Roots and subdominance. It is worth noting that natal Saturn is in the 4th house, and Andreas Nikolaus Lauda's relationship with his parents was very difficult during his youth. When, at 16, he was determined to become a racing champion, his upper-middle-class Austrian parents openly opposed him. It was only thanks to his grandmother that he was able to purchase his first competitive Mini Cooper S A dissonant Saturn in the fourth house also signifies a strained relationship with one's own country and roots. Lauda claims he is not loved in Austria. Whether true or not, there is clearly no love lost between him and his compatriots. For this reason, he races with little enthusiasm on the Zeltweg circuit. Regarding his departure from Ferrari, we must note three important transits: Saturn crossing the fourth house, Pluto over Neptune in the fifth, and Neptune conjunct the descendant. This leads me to suspect that very private reasons, almost certainly linked to his wife, influence his decision to leave Italy. However, only the subject could confirm this, so we remain within the realm of hypotheses. The most significant event of his life was undoubtedly the horrific crash at the Nürburgring in 1976. His car was engulfed in flames, and he was saved only by the prompt intervention of fellow drivers. Recovery took time. In his chart, Venus is closely conjunct to the north angle, and Mercury is angular in a favorable position, as the statistics of Michel and Françoise Gauquelin have taught us. Furthermore, Mercury is the ruler of his ascendant, with which it forms a trine, and aspects the ruler of his sun sign. Among the subdominants is Pluto. As the ruler of the sixth in the fourth, it could explain without much stretching his Plutonian physical appearance in the second half of his life. Pluto, as the governor of Scorpio, also relates to the anus. The Viennese pilot often states that his automotive sensitivity resides exactly there. Through his seat he feels the car's vibrations and controls its skids, the limits of astrology. To the comfort of those who believe astrology cannot yet explain everything, I must admit I cannot decipher his proverbial stinginess and attachment to money. Many argue he returned to racing with McLaren because they paid more than the more prestigious Ferrari. In my view, the greed versus prodigality argument is one of the weakest areas of chart interpretation. I have never discovered a consistent rule or a valid indicator for such a diagnosis. While astrology is exceptional in other areas in this regard, in my opinion it fails most of the time. Niki Lauda lives in Ibiza to find peace, manages his airline Lauda Air, and certainly focuses on accumulating wealth. He claims to be very sensitive, but his horoscope does not echo this, except perhaps for his Pisces values, which are not the dominant part of his astral picture. He is rather a rationalist who views the world of Formula One as ruthless. Is the rest of the world any different? He is the most technical of drivers, ice-cold in competition, and equally glacial off the track. Of someone with a Mars-Saturn opposition, one cannot say they are sensitive. It seems more accurate to observe that while the fire burned his skin, it never reached his heart. Published in the 1980s,